So in this video today, we're going to talk about change in setup position. Now, some of you might have seen a similar set position that was used by a professional golfer called Mo Norman. Now, Mo Norman was a really well-known golfer for having amazing accuracy, and he used to talk a lot about the functionality of things like his shoulders and also the trail arm in the golf swing, and that's what we're kind of doing. We're taking a bit of inspiration from him today, but also what I'm trying to do is again make sure that the topic of discussion is about feeling what the trail arm is doing and give you a better sense of exactly what we're looking for. So let's get stuck into it. Moving away from the traditional setup, okay? Now again, this is a drill that I'm talking about. It's something that you can experiment with. I still would advocate when you're playing golf that you want to start with the club behind the golf ball for many reasons. One, for alignment. Two, better chance of controlling the ball. But what we're going to do in this drill is we are going to start with the club so it's more opposite the right foot or opposite your trail foot. The question would be, well, why? Well, the main reason why is that what I tend to see as a big problem with amateur golfers is with stuff like the takeaway and the backswing position. Golfers aren't really sure exactly what they're trying to do with the arm. So I tend to find golfers that think, right, my arms have got to be straight in the set position and take it straight back. It's not that that's not necessarily correct. It's just I tend to see that the kind of upper arm gets disconnected from the body, and then when you swing back, the upper arm ends up getting disconnected, and then this lends to stuff like pulling down the club and getting too vertical and compensating with your body move. So what I thought is if we kind of took a bit of inspiration from Mo Norman and we get set up, so start with the club behind the ball, but then what I want you to do is just hinge the club. So see the way I'm just allowing my trail wrist just to hinge back. So now the club is opposite my trail foot. And obviously it'll work around a little bit on an arc as well, because I want you to feel like your upper arm stays pretty close to your body. Okay, so like so. And that's where I want you to start it. Now, as you then put your lead hand on the club, this is where we're going to start. So the second part to this now is just to lift the arms up. Okay, so again, let's go through that. Hinge opposite my foot, put my hands on, and then just lift the club up. So that's kind of, if you like, our little takeaway. And what you can see here is the way that my arm is staying connected. So let me just show you that from the other perspective. So I get set up here, a little bit of that hinging action like so, and then I just lift the club up. Okay, can you see that? And that's going to get me into that sort of first part of that backswing position where this arm is nice and soft, and obviously we can take that a little further back as well. All right, so that's the first thing. Now, like I said, the main reason why we're doing this is to get that feeling of the upper arm staying nice and connected to the body, and it's softening in that first takeaway move, and it's getting rid of all these sort of bad habits and getting disconnected. Okay, so that's why we're doing that sort of feeling that's going to take us into that early part of the backswing, similar to what we're doing here. Now, what's also worth noting with this drill, let me just take the club away, is by starting with the hands further behind the ball, my lead arm, so my left arm, comes across my chest a little bit. Now, one of the things that we know is that in the golf swing, we don't want to let the lead arm get too close to the chest in the backswing position, okay? So that's, again, a big problem for golfers that don't really know what to do with the arms. They tend to get this arm really close, and it sort of fabricates rotation. We don't want to do that. So as a simple drill, if I just bring my lead arm opposite my say shoulder or opposite my trail foot, let's say that's as close as we want to let our arm get into the backswing. So the rest of that backswing is now made up of rotation and a little bit of elevation, but at no stage do we want to feel like that lead arm's getting any closer. So that's the other benefit to this drill. It's like we get set up, we hinge it with two hands on, we lift it up a little bit, and then that's basically getting us into a position now where we don't want the lead arm to get any closer to the chest. We've got a nice sense of this upper arm staying connected to the body. So what I want to do is I want to trigger a good rotation as I lift my arms up. Okay, as I lift my arms up a little bit, this arm still stays connected to the side of my body, not like glued, okay, but relatively connected, and then that gets me into a nice backswing position like so. Now obviously momentum can lift me a little higher, etc., but you get the point. That's what we want to be doing. Now the question would be, okay, why would this type of position improve your ball striking? Well, the feeling of this is folding the arm, okay, keeping the arm relatively folded, and then what we're now going to do, you see, is we need to, in the start of the downswing, get the feeling of rotating your chest and your pelvis down into that lead side, okay, like so. And what that's going to do is this type of rotation is going to help me move my trail shoulder over the ball, which is going to give me that feeling of that upper arm staying, should we say, relatively connected to the side of my body as I allow this arm to straighten onto the back of the golf ball, as opposed to most amateur golfers don't turn correctly at the start of the downswing, so you have to throw this arm and it doesn't stay connected. And the feeling is that this arm is going to stay nice and connected. See, my upper arm is going to feel like it stays nice and connected in this through swing as well. And that's going to be really an incorporation of that setup position to the takeaway to the rotation. Let me just show you a visual of that rotation again. This time, if I place this alignment stick through my sort of sternum line and I go through that again. So it's the hinge, I lift it up a little bit, and then obviously from there, as we rotate back, and then as I start this downswing, see the way that if I move my sternum like this, my upper arm can come down to the side of my body, and then I can allow that arm to straight as I continue to rotate through. But see the way that the feeling with this type of exercise is I'm trying to match up that chest rotation with that arm so I can keep that club face nice and square. What we don't want to do is sort of let that arm overtake, because that's again a big problem. So I personally think practicing this sort of feeling of a little bit of a hinge like so, lift it up, is just going to help you set this arm and then get that nice rotation, and then from there you can just try and release that arm as you turn through. And you see, the big thing is the reason why your ball strike is improving is because by allowing this arm to fold, it gets you nice width, and then by rotating this way, it's going to give you that compression on the back of the ball, because it's going to help the club move through correctly. Hinge, lift it up a little bit, backswing, turn down and throw. And that's the sort of little skill set that I'd like you to sort of practice the next time you go down to the range. Like I say, I don't think it's a long-term thing, but I think as a bit of a drill, you'll sort of get the idea of the feelings that we've spoken about here in terms of this connection. It should help you out in a big way. See you soon.